I'm the bad guy. Again, Rachel Maddow tonight just reported on state of Utah. They said they were following the state of Utah. Why? Because I provided them with all of my statistical data on coronavirus for Utah's reporting that I've been doing day after day. And last week I sent them the files saying, hey, Utah's having an outbreak, a massive outbreak. Sent them the files, and she covered it today. Utah among others. I mean, it's not over thousands of cases. I mean, Utah only has 3 million. But, I mean, still, for Utah, that's a high percentage. And we're not getting any better. The Russell M. Nelson's coronavirus fast for the cure failed. And oh God, and all of the corruption scandals that Herbert's been getting himself into over and over and over. My God. And so, yes, that's now the second time that Rachel has covered a story that I gave her a tip on. You know it. Unfortunately, despite my influence in the world, my direct influence is not known anymore. It's been silenced. And the church is a big part of that silencing. But I just want to give you guys an example. We have Zelf on the Shelf. 5 days ago, on June 3rd, he did a video, well, the husband. I don't see the wife in here. It's the guy doing it this time. They're more entertaining, and typically they are able to do, stuff on their videos that I still lack the knowledge to do on mine. Because I want to put box screens on whatever side and have them either pictures or video coverage so that I can, have the picture or the video going here and do commentary while the video plays. I haven't got the knowledge to how to do it if I've got the right program. I would really like that. But, as you guys know, I'm dealing with air conditioners because a landlord tried to kill me with the air unit. So yeah, Zelf on the Shelf did Responding to Mormon Prophets' Racism. And, he's got 15.1k subscribers. I didn't even have that on my other old YouTube channel that the church chased me off of. I think I've passed 100 on this one, finally. But he had 9,225 views as I'm looking at it. They allowed my channel. Thank you. They've been doing create a channel, and this is my channel. I logged in. It's my channel. Don't mess with me. And they don't want to comply. They want to control my usage. Oh, whoops. I didn't want to do that. Might as well go into managing my channel. So my equivalent video was done on the 4th of July, so it was the day after him. It looks like it was in the evening because it's the last one on the 4th. And it's Russell M. Nelson exposes his inner white supremacism. And I did a video going over his statement that he gave. Janet had notified me of it, and so I went to it and did that video. And then, I had to put the symbolism of Mormonism right next to his picture. That's a symbol of Mormonism. Didn't you know that, Mormons? Look at the Seagull Gate. What is the foundation stone of the Seagull Gate? Where does it point to? Now remember your peers as they say, oh yeah, the church controls the government here in Utah. There's the symbol of it. And what's above the doors of the Salt Lake Temple, especially the one where the wedding couple, like myself, had our photo taken as the door handles? What's at the keystone? You know, the Book of Mormon keystone. You know, if you take it out, the whole thing crumbles, so you gotta leave Lucifer's inverted pentagram in there. Otherwise, the Salt Lake Temple crumbles. That's what we want. And if the judge says, okay, Travis, it's all yours, the church is closed down, you can take it, or you can take the money for it, whatever. Salt Lake Temple, Arch, the Seagull Gate, Nauvoo Temple, destroyed. No ifs, ands, or buts. Destroyed, demolished. So not one stone will be left. And it ain't going to be built in 3 days. If you know that passage by Jesus. That's what got him crucified, you know, when he said that. So there you go. Now you'll understand why I'm going to be murdered and no longer be doing videos. It's because I said that the Salt Lake Temple is going to be destroyed after I win my lawsuit. Okay, so yeah, I'm getting nowhere near the numbers I used to on my old channel before the church stopped it. I'm getting nowhere near the amount of views that my website got before the church stopped that too. And then even books on Amazon, all of a sudden nobody was interested anymore. Just a steep drop all of a sudden. It's like, what the hell's going on? But yeah, the church has trillions. You know, with Bezos, that's less than 10% for them. He's like petty cash. Get out of our way, Bezos. You do what I say. That's how it works. The rich control. And the rich even control the others who are rich to others. That's where the unjust... no, not the unjust judge. It's the man who demanded the payment from the poor guy, and he was allowed the opportunity. I can't remember. It's been so long now that I remember that. It just popped into my head. There was one guy who owed a debt to another guy, and the guy wouldn't forgive the debt, demanded the debt, and put him in prison. And so then the debt that was owed by that guy who locked up the other guy in prison then became unmerciful to him because he was unmerciful to the other guy. I'm sure you guys know the verse I'm talking about. Passage. So, yeah. Now I even forgot what I was talking about. But, yeah. I forgot. We're only at 85. It's like it stopped all of a sudden. 5 likes. Last warning for Mormons to leave LDS Church. It started off great, and then all of a sudden it just stopped. People are no longer coming to it. Not even a slow increment. And so that's unusual as to why that would be. 74 for Mormons put to the test, denounce Mormonism. And that's what you're doing, Mormons. What's the symbol of your organization? What did Joseph Smith have in the Book of Mormon? He denounced the symbol of the current Mormonism. And yet here it is, the worst case scenario for us, and Mormons embrace it. Instead of saying, hey, you know what, this is Lucifer's. That's Lucifer's symbol. Hey, no, taking away agency, Nelson, that's Lucifer's plan of happiness. What are you doing, Oaks? No, that's Lucifer's thing. Hey, why are you guys flattering, pacifying, and deceiving us? That's Lucifer's techniques. Mormons don't see it. They don't want to see it because of what it means. It means the church is false. So, alright. Can turn off the TV now. 67, for LDS church lawyers confess the guilt of the church. I can't believe they did that. I can't believe the judge isn't recognizing it. She goes after me instead. You just want to throw up your hands and go, what the hell? And see, I file my complaint first, then the defense gets to respond, and it's supposed to be within 30 days. They were late, but nonetheless, the judge denied it and said, you have to respond, and so I responded. The judge said, no, you are late in your response, and she's not looking at their motion and saying, no, you can't do it this way. No, this is wrong. This is not how it's done. No. And so I pointed out to the judge in mine, and she said, nope, you can't, no. And it's like, what the hell? They were first to respond, and they didn't do it right. And she just refuses to see theirs. So yeah, today's filing, I laid it on her. So there's 4 likes for 26 views about the Seagull Gate symbolism. And there it is, plain as day. There's the picture of the Seagull Gate. All Mormons know of this. You know, if they're going to ignore the symbol of Satan, Lucifer, that's on you, Mormons. You cannot be saved in ignorance. You know that scripture in the Doctrine and Covenants. But yeah, only 55 videos or views for the Russell M. Nelson exposes his inner white supremacy versus 9,225 or whatever. You know, and the thing of it is that it's great that Zelf on the Shelf is getting a lot of attention from people as they expose the church's corruption. I can turn this off now. I'm going to go to bed here soon after I do this video. But the problem is that Zelf and his wife, I don't know their names. I've not really watched their show and their videos, but I'm aware of them and yay. But I have heard some of their stuff. I've heard clips of their videos, and they weren't really active in the church. They really didn't know much about the church. She may have been the Mormon, and he may have been the rebel, or vice versa. I can't remember which. But it's like the Tanners. The Tanners never got sealed in the temple. You know, they gave up before the sealing, and so all they did was say, okay, well, we're going to be Christian now, and we're going to form our own Christian ministry, the Utah Lighthouse Ministries, and they dedicated their whole ministry to collecting documents on church history, and it was great for that, except that they marked all over the pages in their Mormonism, Shadow and Reality, all their Christian opposition comments. No, you can't do that. They're not Christian, they're Mormon. So you have to deal with Mormons on Mormons' terms. And critics don't understand that. And that's what I'm concerned, is that there are those who have become popular who are influencing people against Mormonism, which may be good, but when you throw in incorrect information about the church, that messes it up and helps the church say, oh, see, they were wrong. we don't do that. They were wrong. And so then the church says, you have to dismiss everything they say now because they were wrong in this one instance. And that's the danger that critics expose themselves to, is that the church can just prey on any little weakness you show because you don't know the doctrine of Mormonism as well as you claim to, as well as people think you do. And so here am I, 50 years a Mormon, and I've been extremely influential in this church. Not directly, because those who did the footnotes for the scriptures the first time around in 79 and 81, those guys used that on their resumes and went around saying, hey, I worked on the scripture footnotes, give me a job. You know, they were sort of using it as extortion, blackmail, whatever, to make themselves popular in the eyes of Mormons, to get themselves jobs at BYU or wherever else. And so when it came time for me to work on them, when they came to me and said, hey, we'd like you to work on this, you apparently seem to have a lot of knowledge. Yeah. And so the first thing they said is, there were people in the first group who made themselves popular and made themselves stable financially by exploiting their having worked on the project. And so we are requesting that you remain silent about your work on the project. Well, I was. Only told my mother. That was a big mistake. But nevertheless, nobody really knew what it was that I was involved in. And I have gone over some of it in some of my videos, but yeah. And if you understood, and when you hear me talk about Bruce R. and his mistakes, Bruce R. was the number one guy, and we were not allowed to touch any of his stuff when I was working on it, because of his high stature up until that point. But then almost right before 2008, the church just said, nope, we're no longer publishing Mormon doctrine, and we're through with Bruce R.'s works, and we're not going to have them available for curriculum or anything like that in the universities. So Bruce R. McConkie has been laid to rest by the church. But yeah, I can go over, different passages throughout the scriptures and say, yep, that was where Bruce was working, and then all the headings were his. And I can go over the scriptures that I failed to convince them to make the changes for. And I can tell you who caused the problem, all that stuff. So yeah, I know exactly what needs to be done to the scriptures and to rewrite them. But c'est la vie. Church is the church of the devil anyway, so there needs to be a whole restitution of the ancient religion. So the question is, when? What will be that instant where, like in Moses, because like I said, you're looking for a Mormon who is like Moses, who confronts Pharaoh in the court of Pharaoh, and Pharaoh eventually concedes and says, you may take your people and leave. When is that moment going to be? That's what I want to know. It's just not happening. So, I mean, we're assuming that the coronavirus ended when Moses got to leave, but we're assuming also that it was only 8 days for a coronavirus for them. It might be 8 years for a coronavirus for us. And I can't wait that long. We already have people who have threatened my life before for the church, starting to come back now, right as we're escalating. But, oh dear God! I mean, yeah. And if Oberg says nope, and God doesn't step in with some kind of natural disaster for us to evacuate with, or some kind of national military crisis that causes us to evacuate, or whatever else causing us to evacuate, because I can't just do it now. You have to wait for the sign. You have to wait for the signal. You have to wait for the trumpet. You have to wait for the announcement. And you can't do it early, because if you do it early, you fail. And so yeah, we're seeing the signs. I saw the sign this morning, but it's up to Judge Oberg to tell us what it means. And I can't find out until midnight. The whole thing's getting me upset. Cranky. Should go to bed. I'm already at 20 minutes. The longer I make this video, the longer it's going to take me to get to bed. So. Alrighty. So just be careful who you listen to. It may be fun and flattering. There's like the 2 polygamy girls, for example. Are they still showing up on my YouTube? Hello, who are you? Huh. Yeah, well, 2 polygamy girls. But again, I made a comment on their channel to help them understand more fully about polygamy, as they fell prey to those who don't know much about polygamy. And yeah, I mean, they left the church, good for them. They recognized it's wrong, but their history understanding was wrong. They were blaming Joseph rather than Brigham Young. Those are the common errors that people make. So just be cautious. I mean, yeah, they're more attractive than I am. They're more entertaining. They do better quality videos. But that's not what you look for truth. So pay attention to that.